Never knit or crochet a too stiff fabric again. Hey there, I'm Vicki Howell, and today we're working with yarns and gauge to create garments that have a beautiful drape. Our first guest, Barry Klein, describes drape as a visual extension of knitting that allows fabric to flow. So why don't we go ahead and meet him? Let's go meet Barry. Hey there, Barry.
Hey, Vicki.
Glad to see you, old friend.
Thank you.
Tell me about, you actually are a master of drape. You love flow. You really seem to understand the parts that maybe a woman wants to hide or just feel free and easy. So I would love it if you would just share with all these garments and the different ways that these pieces drape.
Sure. Well, a little bit of the background is that I come from a large family, okay? And we all have stuff that we want to cover, whether it's upper arms or stomach or, you know, the tush. And so in designing, there's a way to do it by creating drape, by creating extra fabric. So as an example, on the red cardigan that's next to me, all the drape is set right across the back.
Right.
So it starts from the bottom up. You have extra fabric, extra yarn thrown in, and we've put a cable pattern in there. And then right here, which sits right at the top of the tush, it's gathered together. And so the drape covers
It's a great deflector.
the extra
right?
tush. So, and some people think that it's the wrong place for it because it's going to sit there. But you make sure that this sits in the right spot and the fabric flows over instead of gaps around the tush.
Right.
And it can be done in many, many different ways. In the coat that I have here, it's done in stockinette. We've used a wool. And so with a wool fiber, it has lots of elasticity. I can take this and I can pull it out and it bounces right back.
Right.
So you want to make sure when you're doing something drapey that you have what I call a live fiber, something that has that elasticity and movement.
Okay, then what's next?
In this instance here, we've used a new fiber. Yeah,
I hadn't touched that before.
It's mink. And it's yummy, it feels great. And we've done a knit to, purl to rib. And then in this instance, I'm gonna kind of open it up for you so you can see it.
Wow, that's a beautiful color. It's that oxblood red that's so on trend.
And this is one big piece. So really what you're doing is creating one big rectangle. Your cast on is here. It's worked up and over and around and back down. So it starts out big, and then it comes back together and you create a Y by sewing up the center and the angles
you can see
to
right
the
here.
Y.
And I love that then that means there's no seams in areas where you don't want to draw attention to.
Right. And in putting it together, you've got one easy seam and it's not multiple pieces to create the drape over the body.
I might have to knock you over for this one. That's a good one. You're like, cold dead hands.
I don't blame you. I'd like that one too. All right, then another way that we've done things is in pattern choices. So this is cables.
Okay.
And then we've done some basket weave stitches. And in this instance, actually, I'm just going to have you try this on.
Okay,
it shows best on here. Let me
I got a little drapey vest action
help you
myself. Is it stuck? There we
Got
go.
it.
Okay. Quick change.
All
Oh,
right.
it's always the accessories that get you.
Okay, so with this one, what's fun about it
Take these off.
is that the bottom part of it, there's cables that go horizontally across, and then you pick up and work up from there. And so on the front, what you get is an angular drape. So this one I forgot to sew the button on, but
It doesn't even need it though.
When it is buttoned, it just has a nice closure,
Yeah.
but you can see the drape over the body is right at the bottom.
Look how cute it would look belted too
Yep.
if you want it to be more tailored. Which is really great about a drapey piece is that for the easy days you could wear this to the beach, but if you belted it, little pencil skirt and heels.
Multi-purpose.
Love it.
And this one's kind of on par with what you're wearing and maybe a little more visual to see. So here's your cast on right here. It's worked across as one big rectangle. And then the rest of the body parts are simply picked up from there and worked up. And what that does is, by the correct yarn choice, it has all the elasticity that we've been talking about, which creates the drape
Through the area.
through the areas that we want to cover.
Okay.
And then we've put a really big collar on here. And that also adds extra drape, so that now the sides come out and cover the hips.
Oh, I really like that. I don't know if you can see that here. It kind of looks like a little triangle, but that gives, I mean, when you look at it, it almost looks like a peplum, but it's not. It just creates that really beautiful long line.
Right, and
I
it's
like
all
that.
based off of rectangles. So for a lot of people, they're worried about shaping and increasing and decreasing. This is all rectangles, and it's really great for every body style.
Yeah, Yeah, it really is. Why don't you talk a little bit about some of the pieces that are behind us?
All right, the one next to you, where drape comes in, is that the two fronts overlap and they crisscross each other. So if you're full busted and you need to make sure that you've covered up, or if you want to show it off, depends on how you choose to tack it.
Hey, we don't oppress. Whatever.
Yeah, it's a free-for-all. But you've got all of your options
Okay.
for drape, and it's just tacked along the side. So you've got two equal
Oh,
pieces.
so it's, okay, I see. So it's draping over.
Right, one
So
side
you've
over
got a
the
little
other.
hidden, a little panel
Right.
for the area.
And you
the
make
other
your two
area.
pieces, you put them over each other, and you tack it to cover and drape over your body, which is really nice. So it's, you don't kind of have to determine, am I a small, a medium, a large?
Right.
You make it and you overlap it enough to fit your body style.
Okay.
And then the piece next to it, what I love about it, I think it's just the ultimate accessory. It's layers of very thin mohair done in a lace stitch, and the lace panels get progressively longer.
Yeah.
And so it
Has that
drapes
tiered
over
effect.
your shoulders. Exactly. And it works on every body style. So if you're full shouldered, big busted, really a nice look because it covers
Even
everything.
with all of those layers?
Even with all those layers.
Fascinating.
Because it's the yarn choice.
Right.
If I does
yeah,
something really
I expected
thick.
it to be. I expected it to be kind of itchy, just looking with mohair, and it's delightful.
Right.
It's really delightful.
Yeah.
Do you have any tips for women on if they're choosing, like, oh, God, I don't really know about my body type, but I know that I really maybe there's some stuff happening. Like, what are sort of like the this works for everyone tips that they should know about drape?
Be comfortable in your own skin. And that's really,
That's a life lesson. for
it
me.
is a life lesson, but
Yeah.
coming from a large family, we've just kind of said, you know what, it is what it is.
Yeah.
You may think you're covering it, people will see what's underneath anyways.
Yeah.
Be comfortable in your skin, but as far as drape is concerned, if you take some sheeting or some fabric, layer it over yourself and start tacking and pinning and see where it's draping on your body.
Oh, that's a smart.
And then take that off and measure it. And it'll show you your comfort zone right there.
Right, and if you find a garment even that's store-bought,
Right.
that you really like how it fits, I mean, I always try and use those as models for things, for whether I'm gonna make it or buy it. If you find a shape that works for you, go with it.
Right. Everyone's got their favorites, and we just say, keep your favorites, measure them, and use them as your template.
All right, well, that's incredible. Well, as always, it's been great hanging out with you, and, again, you may accidentally lose some of these pieces, but whatever.
I'll know where to find them, it's okay.
Well, up next, one of the things that I love is I don't get to see all of my friends on the set, but I do get to see them virtually, or at least some of them anyway, thanks to technology. So up next is the infamous Stephen B., and I visit with him from my creative space, where I live in Austin, Texas, to his creative space. That's up next.